It happened right in the middle of a very big dinner for my company. We were all sitting at long tables covered in white cloths, and the room was filled with the smell of fancy food and the sound of people laughing. Suddenly, my wife stood up. The room was noisy, but she took a small silver spoon and tapped it against the side of her glass. Clink, clink, clink. She had a big, bright smile on her face that looked almost real. Then she pointed her finger straight at me. She said, "You have only one choice today. You change what matters most to you tonight, or our marriage is completely over." I felt my heart skip a beat. More than 50 people, including my boss and my co-workers, turned their heads at the same time to look at me. She probably thought I would get scared or feel very small under all those lights. Instead, I stood up very quietly. I didn't yell. I didn't get angry. What I said next made the whole room go completely silent. Before I tell you what happened in that quiet room, I want to say how glad I am that you are here. If you're the kind of person who likes to hear deep stories about real people and the big surprises life throws at them, you've found the right place. We are a group of caring experts who truly love sharing these human moments with you. Here is something for you to think about while we talk. Maybe you can think of a special name for someone who makes a big mistake in a relationship, and we can talk about that during our next heart-to-heart together. Now, let's get back into the story. My name is Ryan Mitchell. I am 41 years old, and I work as a senior financial analyst. To put it simply, I spend my whole day looking at rows of numbers to help my company make good decisions. I have always been a very calm person. I try to treat everyone I meet with a lot of kindness. I really believe in a simple rule. If you have something hard or painful to say to someone, you should do it in private where it's safe and quiet. You shouldn't do it in front of a crowd of strangers. My wife is Vanessa Mitchell. She is 38 years old, and she is a very talented event planner. She is the kind of person who is brave and always says exactly what she is thinking. But lately, she had been feeling very sad and alone. She felt like I was ignoring her for many months, and that sadness had turned into something sharp. Then there is my boss, David Collins. He is 47. David is a very fair man. He believes that everyone deserves respect, whether they are working hard at their desks or sitting at home with their families. Vanessa and I had been married for 14 long years. When we first started out, things were simple. But lately, our lives have become very, very busy. I had received a big promotion at my job, which is exciting, but it meant I had to spend many more hours at the office looking at those numbers. At the same time, Vanessa's business for planning beautiful parties was growing much faster than we ever dreamed it would. We still loved each other very much. But something was breaking. Somewhere between the long meetings, the work dinners, and the cell phones that never seemed to stop ringing, we just stopped connecting. We stopped making time to have real, deep talks about our lives. Whenever she told me she was feeling sad about how much I worked, I would just give her a quick pat on the hand and say, "I promise things will get better soon, honey." Whenever I felt like I had way too much to do and felt stressed, I just kept those feelings locked inside my own head. Neither of us saw how much hurt was building up like a quiet storm in our hearts. We were living together, but we were like two ships passing in the dark of night. One Friday night, my company threw a big party to say a huge thank you to all the workers for their hard work. They told all of us to bring our husbands and wives along. Vanessa looked so beautiful that evening. She wore a lovely dress and had a warm smile while we ate our dinner. She spent the night laughing and chatting with the people I work with every day. Nothing felt wrong. Nothing felt strange. After we finished our dessert, my boss stood up to thank everyone for a great year. When the clapping stopped, Vanessa suddenly stood up. She hit her glass gently with her spoon again. "I would like to say something," she said. Everyone in the room had a smile on their face. They probably thought she was going to tell a sweet story about our life, or maybe a funny joke. But then she looked right into my eyes. "Ryan, you spent this whole last year choosing your work over us." The room went so quiet you could hear a pin drop on the carpet. "I have asked for more time together. I have asked for us to go out on dates. I have asked you to just be there with me when I am lonely." She took a very slow, shaky breath. "So tonight, I am giving you just one choice." She looked all around the room at my friends and my boss, making sure everyone was listening. Either you promise every single person in this room right now that you will finally change what is important to you, or I do not see a future for us as a married couple. Nobody moved an inch. My friends from work just stared at their plates. My boss slowly put down his cup of coffee, his face looking very serious. Vanessa folded her arms across her chest. She was waiting for me to get angry, to try to win an argument, or maybe even to beg her to stay. Instead, I stood up very slowly. I gave everyone in the room a kind, polite smile to let them know I wasn't mad at them. Then I looked right back at Vanessa. My answer is very simple. I said. She waited, her face tight. I will never make promises about our marriage in front of a crowd of people. Everyone stayed silent. I kept talking in a soft, steady voice. You deserve to have your feelings heard. Vanessa, your heart matters. But our love is a special thing that deserves to stay private between us. If you are hurting, I want to hear every single word you have to say to me. I want to listen until I understand. But I do not want to do it just because 50 people are watching us like a show. Vanessa's brave look started to melt away. For the first time that night, she looked like she wasn't sure what to do next. I turned to the people I work with and gave a small nod. I am so sorry that our private problems became a part of your dinner tonight. Please enjoy the rest of your evening. Then I looked at my boss and told him thank you for the lovely party. Without being loud and without being mean, I asked Vanessa softly, would you like to go home now so we can really talk? Nobody clapped for us as we walked out. The silence felt very big and heavy. On the long drive home, we did not say a single word to each other. The only sound was the wind outside the car. Once we finally sat down in our living room, Vanessa didn't yell. She finally started to cry. I am so sorry, Ryan. I should not have done that in public, she whispered through her tears. I was just so sad and I felt so invisible. I wanted you to see how serious this was, and I thought that was the only way. I moved closer and nodded my head. I know why you were upset. I know I haven't been there. But trying to force me to change in front of everyone doesn't fix the hole in our hearts. She wiped her eyes with her sleeve. I thought you would get into a big fight with me. I thought you would tell everyone I was being crazy or wrong. I shook my head no. I didn't want to win a fight. I wanted to save the respect we have for each other. If I had made a promise just because people were watching, it wouldn't have been a real promise. We talked for hours that night. We didn't talk about the dinner or the people. We talked about everything else. We talked about the trips we missed and the many nights we sat together on the couch but only looked at our phones. We both realized we had made big mistakes. I let my work take over my life, and she let her anger grow and grow without telling me how bad it had truly become. Over the next few months, we made real, honest changes. We didn't just talk, we acted. Friday nights became a special time where we both put our phones away in a drawer and just focused on each other. We started going on one small trip together every single month, just to get away from the noise of the world. Most importantly, we made a promise to each other. We would never try to embarrass or hurt each other just to solve a problem. A few months later, my boss invited us to another dinner. Vanessa smiled a little nervously as we walked in and said, I promise I won't be making any more speeches tonight. I laughed and squeezed her hand. I think everyone will be very happy about that, I said. She looked at me and said, I am happy about it too, Ryan. Looking back, what I said that night worked because it wasn't a big show for the crowd. It was just the simple truth. Healthy love isn't made stronger by having people watch you. It is made stronger by being honest, being kind, and listening carefully when it is just the two of you alone in the quiet. Sometimes the very best way to be strong is to keep your heart safe from the crowd.